Okay. Hi, so this is Activists for Truth, and today is March the 10th. And we're going to have a pretty casual meeting today. We're going to be talking about where we want to go and what we're doing. As always, we talk about what we did the last week and what we're coming up for the next week, so that's the whole idea about this is activism. And last week, when I came to the meeting, I'm like, we don't need just one more meeting to go to, you know? This is supposed to be creating activism and being a platform for people that want to do things, you know? And I was wondering if we were just beating our head against the wall and not moving forward as much as I would like to. But I had 3 obvious things happen this week that tells me we're going to keep sticking with this a while longer. I was just in a restaurant yesterday with my daughter and granddaughter, and a guy at a table this close said, "Aren't you Regina and Bersha?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, I know you. You're Michael Felucci. He works in the Ted Cruz office, not just the campaign. He's in the office. And he was with 3 other very active activists. And he's telling them, oh, she meets at La Madeleine on Monday. Every Monday, isn't it La Madeleine over near SMU? And I'm thinking, wow. So he's telling them, and right then and there, they liked us on Facebook when I got home. It's good. I mean, so people are talking and people are knowing. It was just a couple days before that, I'm in a Chick-fil-A with and this is way in Richardson, with my granddaughter again. There's a lady sitting at a table with her back to us. And John Gentry had brought me the DVD of our fluoride event, which we had done in City Hall. And I was, this whole week I've been a little bit like trying to figure out, are we effective, And I'm talking to him about that and about fluoride. And she turned around and she said, keep fighting. She says, because I always say if someone will lead, I'll follow. I go, you will? Oh, here's a DVD. This is what we're doing. We're Activists for Truth. She said, I know who you are. I saw you at a Tea Party event in Garland. She's not even from this area. And John was there, and she was like, no, keep fighting, keep doing this. I saw you at another time when you were handing flyers out. So as much as I'm the Pollyanna, and I'm the optimist usually, and I keep trying to tell people, you are making a difference. When you do something, it will have an effect. It'll have a ripple effect and all this stuff. But I think I needed to hear it a little bit myself this week. It's just been a little frustrating in all areas. Because because to me, if someone came to me and said, we want to have an activist person come and speak at our meeting, I'd be like, yes, we'll do it, Yet, when I try to find about hemp or some of these things, could you come and talk to us about this? Because some of the topics are like jury nullification or the hemp issue. And it was like, you'd think there'd be somebody, and there's even this gentleman who made this movie, and I never got a call back from him either. So, we'll just keep moving on. Maybe that's the whole thing, that trying to find the guests, it just maybe slowed us down a little, I don't know. But we're moving on, and we'll talk about what we did this week, which was going to City Hall. David will play the 3 minutes that my daughter spoke there. Prior to speaking before the council, we met outside. I think there was 17 of us or something. Did you count them? Something like that. I didn't count them, but double digit, definitely. Definitely double digit. It was 8 o'clock in the morning and it was cold, yet we did get people there. So that's good. Not too bad for 8 o'clock in the morning. And so Joanne, who's not here tonight, she was playing the little jingle that we had, and Marjorie was there, and several guys, a lot of guys. Maybe there were 20 people there. I got to count them later. So do you want to play that? I thought we had a makeshift visual thing here, but the screen went out. It was working and it went out.
If we could convince David to turn the laptop around, even though you won't be able to see all the fine detail.
You kind of get a gist. It's a little bit better. It's a little better than nothing. Okay.
It's probably better than nothing, yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Can you kind of see that? Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool.
We do not consent to be medically treated. Adding fluoride is unethical mass medicating. ActivistForTruth.com went to City Hall on March 5th at 8 a.m. to send City Council a message. Here's our message. Next speaker, Chantel Arroyo.
This is my daughter. Okay, we have enough. Because John did one too.
Yeah, well, I think the sound might be better on mine. You're good. Here we go. There we go.
Okay. I don't know why Brad hung the flag there. I was wondering later why he did that. That's okay. We had some fun. This is a takeoff on a 1930s folk song. That a lot of protests have used, changed the words.
That's fine. That's actually good practice.
Okay.
Take those leg off to those arms and all that.
I'm here today to address the different issues involved in adding fluoride to our water supply. Fluoride has been classified as a drug. Fluoride is added to the water for the sole purpose of preventing tooth decay. That makes water fluoridation a medical treatment. I argue that this is a very dangerous delivery system for such treatment because A, you can't control the dose delivered, B, you can't control the dose of treatment, and C, you are violating the individual's right to informed consent. Fluoridation is unethical. Informed consent is standard practice for all medication and one of the key reasons why most of Western Europe is voted against fluoridation. With water fluoridation, governments are doing to whole communities what individual doctors cannot. That is, forcing people to take a medication irrespective of their consent. The dose cannot be controlled. Once fluoride is put in the water, it is impossible to control the dose each individual receives because people drink different amounts of water. Being able to control the dose a patient receives is critical. This point is often obscured by proponents of fluoride because they prefer to discuss the matter in terms of concentration rather than the dose. The former can be controlled, the latter cannot. A very serious concern is safety. The fluoride goes to everyone regardless of age, health, or vulnerability. The level of fluoride in mother's milk is extremely low, 0.004 per million. That means a bottle of baby in a fluoridated community where they fluoridated 1 part per million, the baby is getting 250 times the higher dose than a breastfed baby. Fluoridated water is not only the way that people are exposed to fluoride. Other sources of fluoride include food and beverages processed with fluoridated water, fluoridated dental products, mechanically deboned meat, tea, and residues from pesticides on food. It is now widely acknowledged that exposure to non-water sources of fluoride has significantly increased since the water fluoridation program first began. The bottom line is that fluoride is extremely toxic. The first proponents of fluoridation back in 1950 were biochemists, including James Sumner, who won a Nobel Prize for enzyme chemistry. There is no doubt that fluoride damages health because millions of people in India, China, and North Africa have had their health ruined by not treating fluoride. There is no larger statement. It is not wise to expose the whole population to deliberately calculated levels of fluoride, which is unacceptable with that medication. The city of Dallas in 1965 decided to add fluoride to the water. In 2014, the city council decided to halt this practice. Mayor Rollins, we want to encourage you to unite with 8 others on this council to make this decision soon. Any way we can help out, we're at your service. Thank you for your time.
I don't know if you can hear it all very good. We're working on getting our audio visual much better, guys, but the content,
A little more video.
a little more video of outside. There you go. And I don't know, John, when you film, can you film it so that it's louder? How does that work?
That's quite loud. We just don't have good speakers here or amplification.
Okay.
And I didn't bring it.
That's okay. No. That's
I
it's all a
couldn't,
learning experience.
It was
It's all
hard
a-
to follow, you know.
Yeah, I know, it's just like, yeah, but when you were there, you could hear it better. But anyways, we're still moving forward on this, and we're not forgetting about the fact that if they don't do it the right way, we always can go for the errors and omissions component of, you know, getting their attention through them hearing that they could be financially involved with this and what they're doing. I'm going to speak on March the 26th, because they're in recess right now. They wouldn't let me speak on this day because they have a new rule now. You can only speak once in a 30-day period. that got passed, because we discussed before you had 4 opportunities a month to speak, and now we're down to 1 time a month. And because it was 2 days off, because it was a short month in February, at first they booked me, and the guy was like, no, that'll be fine. And then the lawyer from the city had to decide that it was too soon for me to speak again. I know, but I know that it'll be on the 26th, and the things that I'm gonna bring up to them are the concepts of, the 2 things we're really pushing is the being medically, here comes somebody through the door, being medically treated without consent. I think if we stay focused on 2 main things, being medically treated without consent, because they themselves are saying why they're putting it in the water is to treat tooth decay, and the fact that they themselves say it is a drug. So those 2 things are what they are saying, the people in charge. Now, if what my daughter was saying is that in 1965, the city council decided on their own to have it put in, and then it was upheld by a vote of the people in 1966. So that's why we're, hi Albert, that's why we're still, no problem. That's why we're still gonna be discussing this with them. So what I would hope is, now they're on recess for the next 2 weeks. But I believe their offices are probably still going to be collecting emails and stuff. What I really would like is, if you could pick a council member, I would say number 2 is Madrino. Is that how you say his name? Madrano. He's just south of the city. Seems to be interested, and also he is on the committee for environmental type things, and he might listen. We just need 8, a total of 8. So I think it's better we kind of assess who the 8 are. It wouldn't hurt if they all get an email from us. When you go to the City of Dallas website, there is a way where you can send your email to the mayor and all the council. You just send 1. You submit it, you fill it out, you submit it. That's an easy way, of course, they know that also. So if you're approaching and you're calling their office, individually, they know that you went through a little bit more hoops to get to them and to talk to their secretaries. I really believe a lot of times getting in friends with the secretaries a little bit, maybe that could have a little bit more attention to get to the ear of the council person, could be. Most of them all have an assistant and a secretary. So yesterday I picked a few. I called on the phone and left voice messages for the assistant and the secretaries, and then of course I sent emails to all of them. So if you all could look and see who you would like to pick. Another good one that I think we need to pick is this new one. She just got elected, and she's Staubach Gates. Can't remember her first name. She's Linda.
No.
Anyways, it's written down somewhere, but you'll see it on there. Her last name is Gates, and her district is 13, and it's it goes right up to Northwest Highway. It gets all the big houses, you know. She has that high rent district area. Now, we're right in the middle. This is Park Cities. They have their own water supply. And then to the...
Jennifer Staubach.
Jennifer. Thanks.
That's right.
Okay. I think because she's new, we might have an opportunity with her. Could be. We'll try. I mean, that's what I would say. If people, maybe this group, some of y'all would just give her a call, tell her how you feel about it, or send her an email. And that would be good. And then let me know next meeting what happened. What did you do? Did you get anything done? Whatever. My council person is Philip Kingston. He's in 14. He takes in the east side of 75, a little bit north, and out towards Garlandish area, like there. Okay, and then the M Streets and all that stuff. He finally responded. After this event on Wednesday, on Thursday, he called me, and I talked to him. It was alarming, very alarming what he had to say. He was kind of like very cavalier, and he said, I haven't heard anything that you've said that would make me want to do anything about this. We've been to the city council about fluoride, about a total of, maybe we've had about 7 speakers, and we've sent them emails and all this kind of stuff, and given them information. And the way we're attacking it is the fact of the consent issue, that we're being drugged without consent. And the other thing is the precautionary rule that states if there's any risk involved, you err on the side of safety. You just don't do it. When in doubt, leave it out, you know? And also we stress the fact that to chlorinate the water and all the other things they do is for the taste and the purity of the water, the safety of the water. Fluoridation is added as a medical treatment, totally different than anything else that's used, so, or why it's used. So that's what we're sticking with. We're not gonna get into the fluorosilicic acid and all this stuff too much because, to tell you the truth, I don't know where the source of the fluoride for Dallas is. A lot of places, but they even say, when you look it up, not everybody is using the fluorosilicic acid and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. So why go there? It doesn't make a difference where they're getting it from if we're saying we don't want to be drugged without consent, you know, and stick to the main two topics, I believe, is what we should do. And then as I was saying to the people before you walked in, Albert, we know we're going to go to the next step of the errors and omissions, but I don't believe yet. I'm hoping they'll do it the right way because it's the right thing and that they have the power to do it. And that's important, I think.
If they wanted to do anything about it, they would have done something. They have the information. They know exactly they're committing a crime and they will continue with that.
I agree and disagree. For example, Philip Kingston has only been in office less than a year, very short time, you know. And this Jennifer Gates, Starbuck Gates, she hasn't even been in there. She's been in there a matter of months. So the concept of if they were going to do something, they would have done it by now is not necessarily true. These particular ones, not, you know, some of them have been in there a while. And to tell you the truth, hi Joe, how you doing? Welcome. We have take a seat. We got a lot of seats to pick from today.
I hope you don't mind me saying, Steve, something. You know, we need to draw attention. And the best thing ever you have done is having the sign and standing right here and get the honk for it, and then pass the flyer where people stop, the car stop, and pass it on to them, make them alert. And then, if we do it 2 or 3 times, all these people, you know, they're absorbing what we're doing.
Right.
So we'll get more response.
I agree, and I think it's time for that. I ordered the vinyl signs. We have them now. What we're talking about is, as this group, Activists for Truth, which we have 2 new people here today, so I guess it doesn't hurt to give a little basis of what we are about. We're Activists for Truth. So we're exposing truth in all areas. Again, like I say, we want to be a platform for candidates or other topics or other passions people have, whatever, so that they have a platform. And then we have a website, and we usually, when we have guest speakers, the presentations are filmed and then we put them on the website. There's several issues that we're passionate about and we support very much so, and we promote. That would be the open carry that's every 3rd Saturday. Murdoch and of course my sister's Oath Keepers. She's been here talking about Oath Keepers and how important it is, you know, and the whole Second Amendment is, we're very strong about the Second Amendment. So we support that. We always make sure we announce Dealey Plaza, the 3rd Saturday. We are out there supporting. We film it. We have a lot of people that are active with that. That's just one of the things.
How many people did you have?
Say it again?
How many people did you have last Saturday? The last 3rd
The
Saturday?
last 3rd Saturday, only about 27 or 20-something. Were you there? 20-something.
For the open carry?
For open carry. Now that same week, they met over in Uptown, and I think they had 70? It was a lot. They had
What's uptown?
it's kind of what you would call,
Downtown. Is it a park?
It's
Is it a park?
between downtown and the Park Cities, that corridor along Cole.
kind of near
and,
McKinney.
McKinney.
McKinney area. It's called Uptown. They've labeled all these things different now. But anyway, so they've had a bit, and then in just a few weeks before that, and in Temple, I mean, they've been getting 100 and 125 people. So
Down
it's
in
just,
Temple.
yeah, and I'm not the first time in Temple. The first time in Temple were hundreds. There were like 500 or something. But since then, they had another one recently down in Temple.
We're
But
going to have
they're,
another one the 1st of June.
the 1st of June in Temple? Okay, good. So anyway, so, but then, so on this group, I realized, and a lot of us talked, that voting is getting to be or thinking that your vote's going to count on the federal levels and stuff. A lot of people are quite discouraged because of voter fraud and how much money it costs to run and just too much. But on the local level, I still believe we can have an impact, and we can have an impact with the ones that are in office, because the city council is 14 people, okay, and a lot of people in Dallas. And if we keep on, eventually, yes, sir.
This is regarding the fluoride issue. In India, when India wanted its independence from the British, Gandhi had the Ahimsa movement. The Ahimsa movement, the non-harmfulness, and Gandhi won out politically. But the only reason, even Gandhi said this, the only reason that nonviolence works is because violence is still on the table. There was another group in India that got less press, that was the 2x4 that got the British attention. And I'm just saying, with the fluoride issue, you might consider, whether you want to be involved in it or not, is we need to locate a 2x4 for the Dallas City Council, which might be some competent group, perhaps lawyers, at least having some lawyers involved, who would consider filing a lawsuit against the Dallas City Council for fluoride in the water. And
that's what I was talking about, the areas of emissions.
If they begin to take action in that manner, then Dallas City Council might choose the IMSA.
Okay, I understand. Okay. And the concept of this, we've talked about this, we've been talking about the fluoride issue now for months, okay? And it's been a stair-step process, and I'm fully aware of how you can go the tougher route, but I totally 100% would rather go the informed route and have them understand the importance and get informed and do something about it. I think in the long run, now, I'm not saying we're going to take 2 years to do this. No, it's moving along in a couple of months, But I do believe for several reasons. We got to have it out there that they truly have heard everything, that they don't say they were uninformed, they didn't know, they didn't have an opportunity. Oh, I just got in office, I didn't hear about this yet. There's been a lot of things. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt what we're doing, and it doesn't hurt for our cause. I don't want us to be the ambulance chasers or the, whatever it is. It just is out to sue and all this. If we do it strong, we do it right, and we do it after we've done other stuff first. Because it's called errors and omissions, and every council person could be personally affected and I want it done right. So, so anyways, that's where we're going with it. So, but Albert's right. Let's start doing some more sine waves, and we have vinyl signs now. We can get on overpasses. We can be, being visual and telling people, and really start everywhere you go. I mean, even if you don't have a flyer from me, which I have all kinds of little flyers or whatever, make up one of your own. I really am big on this. It's got to be a lot of self-involvement with some of this stuff. Just even if you make 15 up or whatever and have them in your pocket. Go to Whole Foods, start talking to people, tell them to come here. That's another reason for Activists for Truth. So, on a local level, we pick fluoride. On a local level, we pick the Dallas City Council. So even if you're not in Dallas, we want people to help in Dallas, because my idea is if we can fight City Hall and win, we give hope to other areas, and we show people that you can make a difference. And it's a unified effort that'll make the difference, and it's numbers that'll make the difference, because we don't have the money to make the difference. Money or numbers, Now, this last week, another big thing that happened, and I believe in this, is getting behind good candidates. Don Huffines is a personal friend of mine. I mean, his wife is a girlfriend of mine. And he actually won against John Corona. Yay! Now, he not only had 5 years of, 5 generations of being a Texan, a businessman, and Huffine has it. I mean, everyone's heard that lingo, that jingle, whatever. But he's a good guy. I mean, he's been out there. He's a Ron Paul guy, and he never backed away from it. He said, I'm a Ron Paul guy. He worked through the Republican Party, trying to make the Republican Party get the idea of that's how we unite people. And he didn't stand, he didn't run away from it. And then when he ran his campaign, He did it right. He had a ton of kids involved, and he had passion, and everyone loved it. Everyone was excited. They wanted to do it. And he had the money to do it too, because that race was $6 million between the two candidates. Now, Corona outspent him 2-to-1. 2-to-1. Corona is a multimillionaire. Okay, the Huffines got money too. But the point is, he wanted to stay in. He was like 21 years in that office, and this is a state senatorial district 16. It's right around here. I'm banking that could help us maybe with the fluoride thing too. You know, whoever Rinaldi got in. Rinaldi was a good guy. He's up towards Irving, our people. That was the Kessigs and stuff like that. They put their money where their mouth was. They got people together. They got people out for the signs, and he won. So we are getting a little bit more conservative state house, and Senate. So moving forward, because the topic I wanted to talk about tonight was hemp. We need to, in the state of Texas, there needs to be legislation put forward to nullify the U.S. ban on hemp. There's 2,500 products can be made from hemp. It would cut the feet off of the GMO products and how they're trying to go after the farmers. The farmers would have something they could grow. I mean, we need to have the farmers have a livelihood, and it's been, this just would help in so many ways. So that's what we need to start working on. We need to start. They're going to be voting next year. You know how the state, a lot of people may not know, but every other year is when the Texas House votes. Okay, Joe?
Do you know why the prohibition on hemp came into existence?
I heard the competition with plastic and cotton, the cotton gin. Yeah, it's all money. And that's the thing.
And also the timber industry was wanting to maintain a monopoly on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's money. Well, okay, and back then it was hard for people. But more and more and more we have the internet, and while we still have it, the propagandists they tried to do before, like even with fluoride, our local issue, we can combat it now. We have the research to say, no, here's the research, and here's the numbers, and here's the statistics. Well, the same thing. So, moving forward, talking about this last week, there were some other wins that were very good. There's some races that are now in runoffs. And what I would really like to do is get behind TJ Fabi. Of all the people that's in a runoff, he's a good guy. He's a young guy, and he's running for a state house. Not around here, but so what? We've got our guy already done. What we need to do is help TJ Fabi. What would you like? Fabby. TJ
I'm
Fabi.
not trying to change the subject,
Go ahead.
but I still cannot digest how the mayor of Dallas decided that we could not hold sign for Kennedy. Yeah, I mean, this is some kind of violations right over there. And by the way, just to let you know, Legal Shield, they backed up. They don't want to send the letter to the mayor, the one that I proposed.
Okay.
I accused him of violation of oath of office and several other things, First Amendment, etc. other things.
Actually, Albert, did you give the report up there at the microphone? Is that?
So we can hear you.
Everybody can hear you.
It's for
It's for the taping, so it gets on tape.
Okay, I'm through, but that's what I wanted to say.
You want to-
If anyone has anything really valuable to say that's going to be more than a minute, probably they should go up and stand near the microphone.
All right, but we're still to analyze where did he come up with the idea that we cannot have sign on the Kennedy Memorial.
Okay, well, what Albert's talking about is, the JFK anniversary of the JFK assassination. The mayor squashed free speech on the grassy knoll, and where they had always had a memorial time and stuff like that. And he commandeered the whole event, and he wouldn't let other information be talked about even. And I think it's because not enough people have been prior organized, so that then when the time comes, you have your numbers together to voice your complaints. That's, again, what I'm hoping.
Which is precisely what the Dallas City Council has done, is they are now denying people a voice
That's
by
right.
their policy.
That is really right.
Denying what?
They're denying our voice by letting us only speak one time a month, as compared to 4 times a month, which wasn't even that much. It's not even, they say, you can come. You gotta call by a certain time, there's only a certain amount of slots. You know, it's already a rigmarole that you have, you know, going on, and now it's cut down to even once,
And
you know?
Regina explained about the different chambers.
Yes, and I am going to fight this, and I want you all to help me fight this. There are two chambers. One is called the briefing room, and one is the main chambers. And I'm going to get numbers on this, but I would estimate the briefing room might hold 50 people, and I'm being
Yes.
generous.
I think it's more like 40.
I would say 40. Okay, but being generous, okay, maybe 40 people. Okay, the first and the third Wednesday, because they always meet on Wednesday, they meet in the briefing room. Okay, the small room. On the second and the fourth Wednesday, they meet in the main chambers, which probably holds 300. Probably three. It's stadium seating, and not everybody is in there at all one time, so it holds quite a few people. Okay, and the fifth, if there is a fifth week, they don't meet. Okay, so they're there 4 times a month, right? Okay, so this last 2 times we went, the briefing room is the room that was used, and we had like 20 people that wanted to hear my daughter speak. And we were shut out. Only 3 of us got in, and
I got in there early.
I know.
I just had a hunch and I went in and.
But they wouldn't let us in, even when we were there early. And they said, oh, you'll get in, and all these people come, and then we don't get in. And so I talked to my councilman and said, okay, tell me this. I'm new to this, and I don't understand. Why do you even meet in that little room? And he said, because the mayor likes it. The mayor likes it in there. He said, I actually don't like it either. So, hey, if you can work on getting that changed, that's great. And I said, so I can tell the mayor that you said that it's his opinion, and that's why it's like that. He said, yeah, it's the truth. He said, I don't like it. So I already sent a letter, and I want to follow up, but it's like, why? 2 times the citizens are shut out after they've gotten there, paid the parking, and want to be in the chambers, when this empty chambers is sitting there. First I thought, well, maybe something else meets in there. No, it's empty, and that's bizarre. But these are the things that go on if we're not involved. I mean, up until, and I admit this, and I think I'm very similar to most of Americans in Dallas or whatever, I had never been there ever before. I had no idea how it worked, and it was December that I ever went for the first time. And there's been probably lots of things that have been going on that nobody's catching because we're not there. But the more we are there, and the more we say we don't like it, the hope and the idea would be they would listen. If they don't listen, you vote them out. So.
Well, one of the things is their actions with regard to the Dallas City Council and with regard to the JFK Memorial Day
Yes.
or weekend or whatever it was, that shows a pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that pattern
They're
of
cocky.
behavior is very significant.
They've been able to get away with what they've been getting away with. And actually, they want to vote themselves a raise, okay? They're looking for like a $15,000 raise for the council people and quite a bit more for the mayor. And the new mayor pro tem, who is just hired, $400,000. I mean, Google it,
We
guys.
have a new mayor?
No, mayor pro tem. Would you Google it? Okay, he just got the job less than 2 weeks ago.
Who's mayor Paul?
He'll look up his name. He'll look up his
Is he
name.
gonna replace this one?
No.
Pro tem is, sits in when the mayor is
Right,
there.
that's exactly right.
Lieutenant Atkins.
Will you look, did he just get hired? Oh, just Google about his pay. It was 400,000, something like that. It's only been in the last
So
month.
is he a new mayor or?
No, there's a
Body
mayor,
double.
there's Mayor Rawlings, who is still there, and he's gonna be up for election next year, okay? Or, yeah, 2015. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem is just like what Carter said. He's there when the mayor's not there. You have to have one or the other. And he's been hired, and he's getting a really hefty paycheck, because I don't even think the mayor gets that much. But again, I don't know. We need to look into this stuff. We need to look into this,
He's like a deputy mayor.
like a deputy mayor.
In case.
And he'll get all the stats high.
Aiken was last day replacing, you know Aiken?
Uh-huh.
That's who replaced him last time when he was out.
Yeah, that's what it's talent Atkins.
Is it
Is
Atkins?
it Atkins?
Or
Yeah,
Aiken? But does it say anything about him getting $400,000?
I'm not seeing it, not to say it isn't there, but.
Okay. How about Google $400,000 to a city council person or something?
I mean,
400,000 for each
Yeah.
city council?
No, sweetie, no. This one person was recently elected, okay, or, I mean, hired,
Right.
and he's getting a paycheck of 400,000. The rest of them only get under $50,000. But I'll get more details. I probably shouldn't have done this without having more information, so, but we'll get more information. I'm sure David will find
So
something.
they're denying the people of Dallas a voice while they're racing,
That's right.
yeah.
And it's not surprising. Yes,
Have
sir.
you tried writing to this Jim Schutz guy about some of these issues?
Jim Schutz. Is he
Yeah,
in the
he's got-
newspaper?
Yeah, he has a column in the Dallas Observer, that free newspaper.
Okay.
And he's like their main political muckraking columnist. He pretty much replaced Laura Miller in that regard.
Okay.
And he's very serious about really going after various corrupt
I like that.
And he's
Who's got a
usually-
pen?
Yeah.
I like that pen up here. We
I
write
think
that
let's get
down.
together some talking points and go for it.
Because he's looking up something. Marjorie or somebody?
Yes, he used to be on the radio, but he was on KNON, but he wasn't getting enough funds raised during a show, and so per their policy, he was kicked off and replaced with a music program.
That's a great idea. So I love that. And I love this kind of, and David, I don't know, who's got a pen that'll write that down for me? Because that's
Well,
a,
I'll put something on the
Just pick
meet
up
up thing for you.
an observer.
would you please?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Pick up
thank
an
you.
observer and turn to the column, now, Get Off My Lawn. That's the
Get
name
Off
of-
My Lawn is the
that's
name of it.
his
I love that.
column.
That's what we need. We need something like that.
Actually, that's a
Awesome.
brilliant idea.
That's a great
What we
idea.
can do is we can be the fluoride group. and
Yes,
if we
that's a
can-
great idea.
If we can design the article and Schutz will go with it.
Shoots? What do you say?
I mean, for instance, I haven't ever spoken before the Dallas City Council, but I'm actually a victim of fluoride damage.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I had, back in the
So are
early
you.
90s, many, some know this, but for those who don't, a dentist prescribed a fluoride gel bath for my teeth, and then left me there for about 20-25 minutes with sublingual fluoride poisoning going on. That evening, I ran a fever. It's like I had a beehive in my mind. And by the next morning, I could not do the mathematical tables. I lost multiplication, division. I could barely even talk. If you have any doubt in your mind that fluoride affects thinking or the brain, let me tell you, it has a major effect. It took me 6 to 8 months of detoxing to get back my mental faculties. Prior to this, I was getting compliments down at the OU Chess Club when I was up in Oklahoma from some of the graybeards at the chess club. I have never been exceptional at chess since that damage.
Maybe you should write to her councilman that's saying, oh, I don't see any damage that you're talking about from the
Okay.
blah, 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 cavalier.
That
Write
might be
this
good.
guy and say, hey, look, this is what happened to me, and I'm just saying.
All right. Well, I could actually do an affidavit, but, I mean, but I think it would be more effective if that was given to Jim Schutz,
Yeah.
and that could be incorporated.
That's a
into the
great
article.
idea. I love
More
that.
generally on the Jim Schutz thing, he's very into sort of open government and all the kind of stuff like that. And a lot of the issues you're dealing with deal less with a particular issue and this other stuff of like, oh, all of a sudden, once you're getting active, they all of a sudden change from 4 times a month to 1 time a month. And they've changed the room so that hardly anybody can
I know.
be in there and things like that. And these are access issues where even if Jim Schutz didn't agree with you on hemp or fluoride or any specific issue, he's
It's
the
the
kind of
general
guy who
concept.
said, open government, this
I
is
love
crap,
that.
we need to change it.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
good. I love that.
Maybe use that approach, because I saw, from my experience, I solemnly assure you that the medical establishment has been hammering city council almost daily with their diatribe since last December, possibly even preemptively. There may have even been a mole in here who dropped it. Because there are people whose job is nothing but that.
That's
Okay.
right. To be a mole.
I mean, as
totally
an
agree.
example,
I totally agree.
I go
So
to
let's not be naive, and I think Albert's right about having, and what I would suggest regarding sine waves is to have them in various parts of town, including South Dallas and Oak Cliff. Because there's a lot of support among, especially among African Americans, to get the fluoride out of the water. They know the writing on the wall, but they've been beaten down for so many generations that they just need, if they see
That would be
the
your- that would be-
organization, then they'll say, I want to join this.
That would be your district, right? Two?
Part of my district,
You'll be
I live
next.
in District 2.
Okay, good. Well, let's work on that, okay?
We have
And
I want
you
to
have
give you a
kids.
hard example of what you meant about people were talking about moles and the agenda of the American Medical Association. There's a guy in the Dallas Philosopher Forum, which I've gone to for about 10 years. And this guy literally used to only go on the medical issues. And like there's a guy that was giving he had written a whole book against plastic surgery and everything like that. He was very sensitive about it for a lot of reasons, dealt with race and that sort of thing. And this guy just hammered the hell out of this poor guy. And it was obvious, I'd seen this guy before, so yeah, I remember over here, he was a doctor, oh, I know what his agenda is. And now he's a regular part of the group where I'm sure he keeps down any potential topic that might come up with medical ethics. So he's already turned that group to at least on any issue that would affect the AMA. And it was just kind of sad, so.
Well, there's a couple interesting things. Hi, how are you? Is that, you know, there's a group called Pew, P-E-W, and they had a person in their group that audio taped their webinar talking about doing this mold type activity. They say they're not, they have no skin in the game, but this whole recorded webinar was how to make us look like tinfoil hats, like
Yes.
Yes, it's very strategic
Yeah.
because all the ADA and the CDC have is endorsements. They don't have a lot of new research or anything that they use. They just use their big, labels of who they are. They're we're the ADA and we say, and they repeat things over and over
And the
again.
public is very conditioned
Yes.
to accept labeling without question.
Right.
And thinking about subjects stops at that point, and it should not.
Yes. So what was
And so their only tactic they have left is to start labeling people, tinfoil hat, as you
Yeah.
said, chemophobes, terrorists.
I'm
Right.
a hemophobe, hey.
Well, and this is what my councilman said. He said, I haven't heard anything. I said, did you watch the 28-minute YouTube I sent you of professionals' perspective on fluoride? He said, no. I said, well, watch the 28-minute YouTube and look at the credentials. Or I said who these people were speaking. They're biologists, they're chemists, they're dentists, they're and then you tell me, because what he said was he was doing the regular line. The consensus of the medical community is it's safe, and that. So he was doing
What is at stake?
the consensus. That means the general overall decision of the medical community is that fluoride is safe. But that's not scientific at all. Consensus is not science.
Science
okay?
is not established by consensus,
No.
it is established by fact.
And I am so glad because I have a little question in a minute here because Dr. DeRusso is here and I would like to talk to him about that. But I said to my council person, okay, because he said, I need to talk to some, real people about this, not just getting the information from you. And I said, I've got all this research done. I'm not doing it, but I can pass it forward. I said, and there's 2 dentists in Arlington that are against fluoride. And I said, the pamphlet that I handed to all of you guys at the last meeting when my daughter spoke, that is what they hand out to their patients. And I said, they're in the business and they want to make, their money. And
What's the name of these 2 doctors?
okay, I'll tell you the name. We look them up. It's Pride Dental. And one dentist is older and going to retire, and I can't remember his name. And then the other one is younger, and he'll tell you their name in a minute. It's something, he'll look it up, Pride Dental. But they're willing to talk. There's a lot of dentists now that are realizing that mercury is bad and that fluoride is bad, and they're wanting to do the right thing and educate. And then they have a big clientele of people that don't go along with the standard idea. But the city council, then what he said, I could not believe this, and I'm going to tell you, I said to him, okay, I'll give you more facts on this and everything, but I said, the consent issue. Let's just go with the consent issue. No doctor can medicate without full, explaining what they're giving to you, and for you to consent to being treated. I said, this is standard rule of medicine. And he says, we're getting medicated without consent all the time. I go, what? He goes, yeah, that goes on all the time. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, like in mental institutions. And I go, you're comparing the two things? That's what,
It's humanity in itself.
but in which case, usually there would be.
We're all mental patients.
Well, and he meant it. This is what he said. I have no problem. And he said, well, because he said, I have no passion to go forward on this, but because you do, I'll look into it. So I said to him, will you make an appointment to meet with me and who I can bring in the next 2 weeks? He said, well, I don't see what you really have to bring to me. Let's just see. Let's just keep talking. I said, well, okay, watch that 28-minute video, and I am calling you back. But I have been calling him from December 11th. And then finally, so we'll make sure. But Dr. DeRusso, isn't that true, that a doctor cannot medicate without consent?
Nothing is true. What's true is, if most people will go along with it, they can do anything, right?
If you're not gonna-
Federal Reserve notes, the dollar's defined as so much gold or silver. 80% of the population would use toilet paper, dirty used toilet paper, if the government said you have to use this. They can get away with anything
That's
because
true.
there's not enough thinking people to oppose them. They rammed Obamacare down our throats. They rammed Obama through vote fraud. The Federal Reserve Act, the Income Tax Act, and everything else that you can think of that's destroying this country. We've lost the republic because 80 to 90% of the population will go along with anything. And then the few that object are put in front of a kangaroo court. They get a mock trial with a judge who's as corrupt as they come. And that's the end of it. You have a better chance for more freedom, not more money, but more freedom under almost any dictatorship in the world.
Well, when is that?
Say again?
How you can have freedom?
You have more. I go to third world countries and nobody bothers me. Here, every time I turn around, I have to fill out a form and register and sign here and say do this and do that and I'm videotaped and I'm surveilled. You're under constant surveillance here all the time. Go to a place like the Dominican Republic. Go to various places like Colombia or Mexico. Nobody cares what you do. Here, you have less freedom. You make more money, but you have less freedom. So you can have a bigger car, you can have a bigger house, you can eat more. So you think you have more freedom. You don't. You make more money.
And that's being taken away too.
And that's slowly being taken away.
Did you find the name of those two dentists?
I have something to tell you.
Can I answer the doctor's question? What was it? Just 1 second. Go ahead.
One is Dr. Masad Attar, that's M-A-S, if anyone's ready.
Masad Attar, he's the
MAS.
younger one, and the older man?
All it says is Dr. Sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Yeah, I knew his name was
Larry
a.
Sprinkle, what's his first name?
It doesn't have his first name.
Yeah, I know.
He's older. It's probably him. And so, yeah. Well, anyways, I mean,
And they do it, of course they can do it. They do it every day, all day long. Yeah, and if you object, you may be executed. Did you see where some guy was shot by the policeman about 6 weeks ago in Dallas?
Yeah.
And the videotape was taken. The guy was just standing there. The cop pulled up his gun and shot him 4 times in the chest. We have lost the republic. This is more than about just fluoride in the water. We have lost the republic. There is no law. The police are executing the citizens with absolute impunity, and the judges and prosecutors are covering it up. Your vote doesn't count. There's a canyon in the White House. We've lost the republic. I mean, I don't want to deny or disparage the significance of fluoride, but I kind of think, we've got a far more serious situation here than most people understand.
well, you're talking to a group of people that do really know how serious our situation is. I mean, I understand, and I understand it too. But I'm the optimist, and I'm the person who says it hasn't stopped
Maybe
yet.
you're on drugs and you don't.
It's probably that lithium
We're all on drugs and
in
we
the
don't
water.
know it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm sorry, Albert had something to say.
Last year-
Talk louder, talk at the speaker. There you go.
Last year, I took my cat to the vet.
Walk around the table this way. Did you find the guy with all the money?
No.
No? All right. I'll look at it. Okay.
So
You
I
don't
took,
have to hold it, just like
Okay.
that, there you go.
I took the cat to the vet and I asked for the vet to go ahead and clean the teeth. And they say we can't do that unless he get vaccinated. And I say, I do not let you vaccinated. And I already watched all the videos I made, one vet to another. So finally, this vet talked a little bit longer with me and she said, but we have to give him something for leukemia because it's contagious. I said, okay, let me look it up. I looked it up.
Leukemia is contagious.
That's what they told me.
Feline leukemia.
But if you look it up on the internet, on between the cats, she claimed that it is, and that's the way I looked it up on the internet. I say, fine. I said, now, do you know for sure that this cat have a leukemia? She said, no. And I say, so why you want to give him a shot? Why don't you give him a test first? And if you don't have a leukemia, clean his teeth. But we went through that, and I told her, you can call the FDA. I'm not going to let you do anything to my cat. You be responsible because I watch all the video. The global authority in the world, and they already announced that the vaccine is bad. So why do you want to give it to the cat? She agreed to do that. It cost me $300 to clean the tooth. But today I went to the same vet that they refused to touch the cat without a vaccine, and they said you don't have to have vaccine anymore. I don't know if the word passed or something happened. You don't have to have vaccines anymore. Are you aware of that? There is a vet on the corner of Floor Lane and Preston that I went to just before I went to the next one. And she told me we won't touch the cat until we vaccinate the cat. But today it was a different story. They say you can bring your cat and we will examine them and we clean their teeth. We do whatever you want us to do. You don't have to do vaccines anymore.
It's a city manager.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say
Somebody's lying and vaccinating the cat behind your back anyways.
AC.
that could be.
I always
looking at
get
for the program.
400,000.
They can do that then,
I
right?
stopped. I'll never, next animal I have, I will never feed it animal food. I will never have it vaccinated. People food, my food.
Is it raw what you give them or just?
Honestly, I think it's all processed. I mean, how in the hell does that cat get cancer?
I had 2 cats died last year, 25 years old. They never touch a canned food or dry food. They get a chicken neck, or chicken wings, and they eat raw meat every day.
Yep,
No problem with that.
Yep.
And they live long.
yep.
Careful of the
But
word.
however,
Would you eat the stuff that's in the can? I sure hell wouldn't.
I'm sorry,
Would you eat the stuff that's in those cans?
not there.
Hell no.
It's the city manager that gets a paycheck of $400,000.
The city manager.
City manager.
That's part of the whole way we run the city of Dallas.
And let me tell you another story.
Dallas is a managed city.
Let me tell you.
I'm trying to remember all
A
this.
managed city.
Because
I
I
gotta
was
change my
away
resume.
for 13 years.
Let me tell you another story. Now they get involved with Uber, okay?
But you gotta say, what's Huber?
Uber is a slave labor, it's a modern slavery. They created this app that you can push a button and then you can order a limo on the spot within 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So now the city council, they have a job to enforce the rules and regulation. They let them get away with it for the last 1.5 years, right? And for 1.5 years. And now we went through all this committee, all this gymnastics going up and down or whatever. And then the last thing I heard from my city council, that we need to reinvent the wheel. That means we're gonna have the same thing what's going on, and I didn't understand all this money being spent for nonsense. I think they're being bribed or whatever. You know what I made last week?
He's a limo driver, by the way.
Last week, and they have the nerves to send me this, and they give you the score, what you did. I made $2 an hour. I put 96 hours for $2 an hour. I drive a $50,000 car. I pay for my own insurance, my own vehicle, and everything else. And everything. What they did, they brainwashed everybody because the desperate went along with that. So where they take 20% from the top, which equal 25%, and then they need to promote, they do promotions for the customers, so they cut another 30% from that. So that's now you have 55%, and then they tell the customer not to tip, that's another 20%. So if you get $60 that they will give you, by the time you pay the 6 gallon of gasoline and $4.32 to the city of DFW, you're $25 out. So you're left with $35. You cannot make money with that, but they want them to come. This is something to keep in mind and let everybody know. $2 an hour. $2 an
You know
hour.
what I would do? I'd put a sign in my back window when they're sitting there.
No,
We encourage you to tip.
To
Tips
what?
are greatly appreciated.
Say that again?
That's a whole
In the
other
back of your
issue.
limo,
Right?
put a sign inside.
No.
So when your fare is in
But
there,
let me tell you what I did to a lady last night. She got in the car, you know, they think they own us or whatever. Oh, how is Uber? And I said, it's a slave labor. She got shocked. I said, it's my first time. I said, let me tell you this. Yesterday I worked all day, I made $38. And from that I had to kick back 20%. She got quite disturbed. When she got out, she gave me $50 tip.
Holy cow.
$50 tip. And I said, please don't tip me, we're not allowed to get tip. But she said, I want you to have it, that's it. But the customer don't mind to tip, but they tell them not to tip because they're doing a lot of promotion, they're giving a lot of freebies, but they kill our industry. You know about it, right? You heard about it?
Sir,
it's not starting there, and it sure as hell isn't gonna start there.
I'm sorry?
It's not starting there, and it sure as hell is not gonna stop there.
What do you mean?
It's
Your
government getting
industry's-
involved with
Yeah, your industry
industries.
is the first, and it's not gonna be the last.
A lot of
Regulations
industry.
are coming.
What he's saying is the city's gonna get involved and regulations are gonna get involved with a lot of different private businesses.
Yeah, but why do you want to get involved? I mean, if there's
Somehow-
nothing for them, you know, why do you want to promote the slave labor? What is there? You're getting $150,000? And I told them at the city council in the afternoon, I say, none of you sitting in here willing to take 30 to 40% immediately on your next paycheck. So what are you doing in here? What are you promoting prosperity or poverty here? That's how I ended it.
That's what, you know, activists for truth, what we're saying all the time is exposing truth. And it is a good versus evil, it's truth and darkness. There's a
They
bad
talk.
side out there that does have bad agendas and ideas that are not gonna make life better.
The government
This is
not
one of
only
them.
wants to disarm peasants, they want poor peasants.
That's
I mean,
right.
if you have either money or a gun, you have a little more leeway or degrees of freedom
Oh,
or
your
ability to
flag
fight
is
back.
tangled.
Watch him for a second there, or unplug
But I
those maybe.
urge everybody, in order to understand what we all against,
What do you got?
there is
Before.
get on the internet and watch the most powerful man in the world, the Black Pope, and this is the new world order. And they're gonna tell us exactly what they're gonna do to the Christian, I'm not Christian, but they're saying what they're gonna do to Christians, that they're not gonna follow off. They're gonna cut their guts, you know, and they're gonna do whatever they want to with them. This is the new world order.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we have some new people in here, and I don't know where, you know, how a lot of times people even found us before. It's a little
I
bit,
don't know how I got here, but.
how did you find us the first
I don't
time?
know.
I'm not even sure. And you found us how?
I was looking up Sam Lasuk, who used to be the head of the objectivist group in Dallas, and was a pretty cool guy. And recently, the new guy has started to go on, you know, something like a midlife crisis or something. So anyway, I looked up Sam Lasuk, and he was a member of this group, not this group, but some group. And I linked to LinkedIn, like far less than 6 links away from that. I found this group, and I said, Truth and Liberty. This sounds great, but everyone thinks they're for Truth and Liberty. And I clicked on it. They're against fluoridation. Yes. That's
Aww.
right. And they're against some war in Syria that they were going to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I said, oh man, well, maybe it's a defunct group, and maybe it's not going to have another meeting for. It's tonight. And I said,
Aw.
and I immediately started driving down here. Yep.
Well, sir, we're glad you're here tonight, very much so. I'm glad you're here. And especially this week because, like I was saying, this group was started in April of a year ago. And we would put on a lot of bigger events and they're energizing, you know. We can get a venue and we get 100 to 300 people. And I feel like we're doing something and we're getting information out. You know, I'm really big on supporting whistleblowers. I know that whistleblowers stick their neck out, and a lot of times people love to hear what they have to say, but then the support isn't there for them, and it dwindles, and their livelihood and their life has been changed forever. And, you know, you see that young man, Bradley Manning, you know, he'll be in there for another 30 years, you know, and he was just exposing some truth that he saw, among other people. Like I use the word, you know, be careful, don't get Hasting'd, you know, because Hastings stuck his neck out and supposedly hit a tree at 35 miles an hour and his car blew up, you know? So there's a lot of people out there that are trying to expose truth, like the Moriartys, the good friends of ours, and they're still exposing what's going on in Libya and all the other places because mainstream media isn't giving us the truth. And that's what a lot of this came from too, is I want us to be supporting the good guys. The Power Hour with Joyce Riley in the morning. She's on from 7 till 10. We turned a few people on, and it's the truth. She exposes all kinds of things, and she's willing to talk about all kinds of things. It's actually on internet radio. It's on GCN, and so it plays throughout the day, too. I'll give you a card in a minute, and it's a phone number you can call because it loops around. You can also...
7 o'clock every morning.
That's right. But it does loop. You don't have to listen at 7 to 10.
It's thepowerhour.com.
The best way to enjoy the show, let the show expire. And if you don't have time, you know, wipe up all the commercials and things that you already know. In 30 to 45 minutes, you listen to the 3-hour show.
And the other thing she does is she tells you how long the commercial's gonna be, which is great.
She does.
We're going into this 3-minute commercial, just zoop.
Or 4 minutes, 10 seconds. You're absolutely right.
I heard you call last week.
I did call last week. Yeah, you heard that, huh? She's awesome about letting people get on, and she supports what we're doing. There's another guy, John Whitehead. He's with the Rutherford Institute, and
John who?
Whitehead.
Oh,
Whitehead, he's been around a long time. He's a lawyer, and he fights a lot of things. And he was on her show, and it also gave me the boost in the arm about whether we should keep doing this. Because sometimes I look and I think, oh, 10, 12 people. I don't want these meetings to be boring. I don't want just to have another meeting to go to. But then I remembered another reason why I'm doing this. This is so you know where to come on Monday, you know? You know you can find us on Monday. If there's another activist that you want to say, meet me there, it's kind of a neutral place to meet, and you know that you can at least run into some like-minded people if you've had a rough week that nobody gets it, you know? And I don't know, I'm hoping. Now this last Monday, like I keep telling everybody, I almost thought, I don't know, maybe we can do this on the internet. I mean, maybe it's silly to have a meeting, but this whole week, and with you coming, and I don't know, and I'm like, I guess we need to do this a while longer and see what's going to come up. Not yet, John, just a second. Okay, I'll let you know. So the deal of it is, though, is in April, though. Now, from now until the end of the year, this place is booked. We have it booked on Monday, 7 till 9. But the first 2 weeks in April, they had another group book. So we're going to meet at the IHOP, which is right on the other side of 75. It's just up a little bit more north. Yeah, it's right near Cruth Haven.
Chick-fil-A and the Guitar Center, I think. Right?
Correct. And their room is there also. It's a private room, and I hope people get word of it, start telling people now. The other thing is, a lot of people in our group aren't on Facebook, but we do have Meetup, and we do want to encourage people signing up to Meetup so that when people go to Meetup, they don't see 29 people on there, you know? Because people, oh, well, you know. Listen, everybody join Meetup, okay? And build that up. And don't be so afraid of Facebook. I know they watch you and they follow you, but you could be another person on Facebook, you know? And a fake, an alias, you know?
A pseudonym.
A pseudonym. Now, John wanted to respond to Dr. DeRusso, but before he does too, I also want to say, what was that noise? Anyways, I'm the Pollyanna of the group. That's how I started talking about what are we doing and why we're doing it, okay? If the bad guys had it all sewed up, it would be done. See, I grew up in the John Birch Society, okay? And I grew up in it, okay, because I have older brothers and sisters. And there's been several times over the last 47 years, because I remember writing letters at 10 years old and I'm 57, that there's been the day it's going to be over. I mean, I even heard that March 4th You know, everyone had the date March 4th. It's going to be over, it's going to be over, you know?
March 4th of this year?
Yeah. A lot of people had picked that date, that they thought it was going to crash, and, you know. And this has happened a million times. But I had asked one of the leaders that I love, Bill Cherry, who has been fighting the fight for a long time, when do you give up, you know, when do you give up? He said, if I thought it was going to be over at midnight, at 1 second to midnight, I'd still be fighting. So I think part of fighting is having a hope. And they haven't won yet, you know? So hope that we can get back to the constitutional republic that we were founded on, from great men with great minds that came here and expose the evil. Yes.
People don't even understand the issues.
A lot of people don't. But you know how many people are out there? Now, John wants to give you a probably intellectual response. So I'm giving you an emotional one. Okay, go ahead, John. And then
Okay,
Joe,
Dr. DeRusso. Major, we're surrounded. Great, now we can fight in all directions. This is not an intellectual response, by the way.
Okay.
In football, they call it the red zone. I would agree with Dr. DeRusso. We are, in fact, in the red zone. But this is where the battle really engages. Chris Ann Hall came and spoke in Dallas at a Birch Society luncheon, and Regina was there. It's on DVD. She has her book. She thinks that there is a path to restoring America.
There's a what?
A path.
She believes there is a path to restoring America. Whether she has hope or not, I do not engage in hope. I engage in strategy. We have a younger generation coming up, the Adam Kokesh's of the world. Our new person here was at the Kokesh meeting. His talk over at the Freeman Bar and Grill was a phenomenally inspiring talk. Over at the IHOP, I was watching some things come out I wasn't real happy about, and this really brings up what the challenge is. I'm forgetting who the economist is who was predicting it. He was saying that over the next few years, we are going to have the birth of a new movement, which is not going to be Republican or Democrat.
Amen.
It is going to be progressive libertarian. I'm inspired about one part of that phrase. I'm a little worried about the other part of that phrase, and Adam Kokesh really underlined that for me as to what I'm worried about, and that's the progressive part of it. There's one of the challenges about anarchy, at least as it's understood, is it's really kind of a form of Pollyanna, if you will, in my view, of its own, because the belief is that you can function without any kind of a structure of government. And it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge. But see, what I see happening is I see this thing creeping in some of the younger minds. They've been so conditioned by the school system, by the media, that they're actually collectivists without even knowing it. And so when they go for a solution, we're going to have problems if we don't educate them. And I believe we have a mission going forward. I know when I started doing videotaping on some of this subject matter, really a friend got me involved back in 1994. And he made me aware that my liberal leanings at that time needed a little revision, a revision of a factual basis. And it's kind of hard to calculate, but I know I've done over 3,000 video shoots since that time, and a good portion of those have been in meetings exposing different parts of the truth. So it's not over till it's over. And yes.
It's over.
Okay.
All that's left now is the Depression and the aftermath. All this stuff now is the violence.
We're going into the Depression, and there very well may be violence. And you know what? And you know what? That is going to be,
The next big political party will be called the Starvation Party.
that's coming. That's coming. I'm not even disagreeing with you on that. This has been engineered.
Bob wants to say something.
I completely disagree with pessimism generally. If you're talking about pessimism for the Republican Party, yeah.
Okay,
The
I'm,
party screwed themselves up so many ways to Sunday that if you really think about it, from 2006 onwards, the only election they've actually won was the 2010 House election, not even the Senate. And there's so many of these elections it was theirs to win on 2010 or afterwards, and they lost it anyway. That if I were a Republican, I would be very depressed. But the point is, it's because a lot of people that used to be, kind of holding their nose and vote Republican just can't do it anymore because of their neocon sort of self-supporter agenda. And a lot of people are just fed up with the Republicans, but that doesn't mean that they're Democrats. And so I'm very optimistic about the future.
well, that's because you're looking at the politics. The politics is not where the music's playing. I would agree with Dr.
Optimistic about the future. What are you going to do about the $100 trillion in debt that has?
I think the debt should just be dissolved.
You're looking at a tsunami of worthless payment.
Yes, we do.
Inflation.
We do have a tsunami, and Iceland stepped out of that. Iceland put their bankers in jail and kicked out the central bankers.
No question that it was a wonderful thing to do, but America's not Iceland.
Hungary did that too. So did Russia.
Hungary's on a totally other rocks. You can't
And
even-
Ireland may be doing that.
Ireland may be next.
Over here, go ahead, Joe. You want to talk up front or no?
There's 2 points.
Loud.
The Republican Party is the one hope that they have is that they embrace the liberty movement within. So we have Rand Paul coming out as a top contender now in the CPAC, Conservative Political Action. He was very well received in his speech. It's a message that will resonate with the young. It is, people are tired of the war. He's the son of the most anti-war Republican that has been in politics, and he's fiscally sound, and he's got an open-mindedness and a willingness to embrace people. The marijuana issue, the NSA issue. So there is some hope for the Republican Party if the establishment gets out of the way and makes the choice to change. Otherwise, it's in their industry. The second is,
Okay, may I
He wants to say
respond to
something.
that? May I respond to that?
Let him say
The
it.
second point is, yes, we're probably going to go through a greater depression.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about starvation, when you see a sale on something that stores well and that you eat now, or whether it's going to hit the fan, buy in bulk quantities. It's that simple.
With response to the second question, I still have some of my Y2K stores, and some of them are still good. With response to the first, this battle will be won on ideological values. It will not be won by the Republican Party. The Republican Party has betrayed us. It will betray us again. It is rotten to the core, just as the Democratic Party is. They are both in this together.
This gentleman is going to speak next. Go ahead.
Okay, well, my opinion is that the vast majority is bluff. That's the first thing. They have so much control over the media that you think all of these things are under their control, and I don't think it's even close to their control.
Well, that's a good comment.
At the top, for sure. But the other thing I'd say is that Washington, D.C. is the same as the Vatican, and Ronald Reagan recognized the Vatican as a foreign country. Washington, D.C. is not part of the United States. And the USA Inc. is a Delaware nonprofit, and between the two of them, they have the debt. We have no national debt.
Thank you very much. That's right.
Fraud vitiates all contract. That is a fundamental of law.
Exactly, that's my
But
point.
also, what you are saying
10 years ago.
What you're saying only matters in parlor talk. It doesn't really matter as far as when you're trying to get anything done.
Well, on the contrary, if you're talking about the youth, why does YouTube even exist and have
Yeah.
all of the stuff on there? Because there's a huge resistance out there.
There is a huge
If there
resistance.
wasn't, we would be slaughtered a long time
Thank you very much.
This is true, but actually, we have been slaughtered a long time ago, and this is,
No, not really.
yes, we have. Remember Waco?
Well, we all weren't. That wasn't.
Wait a minute, we all died at Waco. America died at Waco. This is what he's talking about. The non-response of the American people died at Waco.
Well, you
This
still
is
got
when
the
you're,
sleeping tiger, and the tiger's
that's
gonna wake
the
up.
tiger is waking up. The tiger will wake up through starvation. It will wake up. The point of it is the direction that things take once the awakening is complete. And that's what I feel we need to work on, is we need to work on waking people up to the fundamental principles that made this country in the beginning, because those are what we've gone from.
I agree wholeheartedly. And this Chris Ann Hall is fabulous. He only has a couple of, it's really, really, really good. She blew me away in her speech, and she's available to come to Dallas in June and do something for us for free. She's the best, really probably the best speaker I've heard. She is from, yeah, I think it was New England. I'm not sure. She actually lives out West Coast right now, Florida right now, Florida.
She's the assistant attorney general in Florida.
That's right, that's right. So she has a background in law, but she's a great speaker.
The CD you gave me, is that she's coming?
Chris Ann Hall? I don't know. Did I give you Chris Ann Hall?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get some more copies, but whatever I have, I'll give to you guys tonight. Anyway, she's fabulous. Okay, so Dr. DeRusso, you called me and said you wanted to get to talk to me, and then you said, is there a topic that you have fresh for us?
I'm writing a white paper on the corruption and treachery of the American judiciary. I don't think
Would you come forward?
Yeah, I'll just
Do you
give
mind?
I don't have my notes with me, and the paper isn't written, so, but I can just give you
Come.
a couple of comments.
Let's see.
If he wants to sit, that should be.
How do we unplug this? Can you get through here? Okay.
I'm writing a series of papers entitled The Betrayal, Conquest, and Destruction of America. And I've been a student of American history and American political history probably since I read my first book, None Dare Call It Conspiracy, and then None Dare Call It Treason, back when my mother gave them to me and I was 16. One of my favorite writers is a fellow named Harry Brown, who I had the opportunity to meet as he was running for the presidency. And he was just by far the most insightful, down-to-earth economist imaginable. I mean, he said gold and silver is it. That's it. Everything else is paper. And J.P. Morgan was asked, what's money? And he said, gold is money. Everything else is just paper. So the point of it is, I got interested in the judiciary thing. Yeah, I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the FIJA, Fully Informed Jury Association, jury nullification. Well, I started investigating this stuff, and what I found was there's a series of things that have been done in many parts of our American government to turn the Queen Mary 180 degrees. Whereas the Founding Fathers set up a very honest system, over time, that system had a little tweak here, and a little tweak there, and a little tweak here, and a little tweak there, and after 100, 200 years, it's not the system that was put into place and doesn't even vaguely resemble it. I tell people, the first thing that I found of great interest was, in Scharf versus the United States, 1895, the historical role of the jury was to decide on both the facts and the law, to sit in judgment of the law, and to acquit in any case where the law was repugnant to conscience. This goes back several hundred years, the Peter Zenger trial. And in 1895, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that, yes, the jury does have the power to overthrow the law and acquit, but they have no right to be told of that power. And so in Scharf versus U.S. in 1895, the Supreme Court said, well, we're going to tell the defense attorneys, you're officers of the court, you work for the court, we license you, you'll do as we say, and you're not going to tell the jury that they have the power to acquit. And in 1895, to me, was the end of due process of law and fundamental fairness in American jurisprudence. Everything after that has been a mock trial in a kangaroo court where the decision as to how you're going to be convicted or let free has already been made. So we have a situation where the judges
lie to the jury. They'll say, you're to follow my instructions. I will lay down the law and you're to decide the facts, and that's the end of it. And the truth of the matter is it couldn't be further from that. John Jay, in the first jury trial in America, said to the jury, you are to try the facts, but you have in your power the ability to try the law. And as of conscience, as a matter of conscience, it's the last restraint that we the people have on rogue, out-of-control government. Well, the judges lie to the jury. Then the judges deprive them of their lawful power to sit in judgment of both the law and the facts. Then they intimidate the jury. They'll say to the jury, you do this or I'll hold you in contempt of court. This is unbelievable. Then the judges control what evidence goes in. They control who can testify. They control what testimony can be given. Now, a new one that I learned of not too long ago, and I have the citation at home, the judges are now allowing the police to lie on the stand under oath. And the juries and the judges are saying, we want the jury to have all of the information, and then it's up to the jury to make a decision as to whether or not the policeman is lying. Well, in the eyes of the general public, the prosecutor and the police are like saints. And so you have a situation where it's unbelievable. They lie to the people, and they allow the police to lie. They suppress exculpatory evidence, right? They suppress evidence, and they control who can witness and what they can say. Now, on top of it, there was in American jurisprudence, Anglo-American jurisprudence, the distinction of mala prohibita and mala in se. Mala in se were common law crimes: murder, rape, arson, fraud. These are things that are bad in and of themselves. Mala in se. Mala prohibita is bad because the legislature says it's bad. It's not inherently bad. We have a situation now where the mala prohibita laws are being issued by the millions and millions and millions, and every man is expected to know the law, and it's not possible. And every man is expected to understand the laws. And the laws are written specifically so that an average person of average intelligence doesn't stand a ghost of a chance of understanding what the law is right in front of them. Now, on top of it, there used to be a phenomenon known as mens rea, which is a guilty mind. If you're driving down the road and you see somebody and you push on the gas and you run them over, you got a guilty mind. If you're backing your car out of your driveway and some kid drives a skateboard up there, falls, and you drive over him, there's no mens rea. There's no guilty mind. Well, the guilty mind phenomena is gone. They don't have to show mens rea. So you've got the judge steering the jury. You've got the prosecutor doing whatever he wants. One federal prosecutor said we could convict a ham sandwich. You've got the laws that no longer make any sense at all to anyone. You've got millions of laws that are absolutely incomprehensible, and you're expected to not only know them, but understand them. And you can be convicted even if you had no guilty intent of any kind whatsoever. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that innocence is no defense. Okay? So, in total, little change here, 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 little change here. The courts are absolutely corrupt. You get a mock trial in a kangaroo court before a judge who, there's another thing. How many people, if you went to court, would demand a jury trial?
I need, and I get my way every time.
All right, you got a jury trial, right?
Yeah, I give the judge 50 pages of jury instruction that he have to read, and I accuse him of violating the Seventh Amendment.
I'd like to see that. Good for you. All right, is there a difference between a jury trial and a trial by jury? How many people know the difference between a trial by jury and a jury trial? You never heard it. So you go, I want a jury trial. And the judge goes, absolutely, you can have a jury trial. It says in the Constitution, trial by jury. It doesn't say jury trial. A jury trial is where the jury sits in an advisor capacity to the judge, and he can listen to them or not. He can set aside their verdict. He can do anything he wants. It's his courtroom and his trial. They're in an advisory capacity. Trial by jury is where the jury conducts the trial and the judge is simply a referee. So taken all together, these little tiny changes in our jurisprudence, in the end, the judges can control every decision to be exactly the way they want it. And in the end, remember, innocence is no defense.
So you're writing a paper about this?
Yeah, well, I'm writing a number of papers. That's one of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Proven innocent, right?
But I wanted to mention one thing. If you go to court and you see the judge committing a fraud, constitutional right, and you don't point it out to the judge, you're accessory. Because if you see a murder being committed, you have to call the police. So, if you don't let the judge know, somebody above him know that he committed a fraud, you can go to jail for that.
Wow.
I can tell you where you can look it up. You have to tell the judge. I twice told the judge, you committed a fraud. One, he asked me, what do you want? I said, drop the case. He said, only this time. He does it many times, but you have to give them what do you have. And I asked one time, when the jury went to the panel, I said to the judge, do you know how many laws we have? And he said, no. Do you know? I said, yes, I know. It's 2.5 million. He said, it's impossible. I said, 2.5 million. I said, do you know how many rights do we have? And he goes, do you know? I said, yes. You have 1,100 rights. 800 of them is come from the Bible, your Bible, okay? And 300 is whatever you made up. But if you don't know whether you're going to court and you don't know your rights, you don't have a right anyway. But when you bombard them with all paperwork and let them know that you know your right, they don't want to have anything to do with you. And in fact, I'm going to repeat, the police don't write me a ticket. I run a red light without a seatbelt and I'm speeding and they avoid me, let me go. They don't want to have anything. Every time you beat them long enough, they don't want to have anything to do with you. Even if they see you, they let you go. And by mistake, if they stop me, they thank me for my courtesy because I played by the rule. That's it.
I'm glad that
And I'm
works
sure
for you
you
like
can
that.
I want to see your papers.
Okay, I'll tell you where to look it up.
Okay, later. Oh, yeah, I don't have paper right now. Okay, so let's talk about what we've got going on, guys. This Saturday is going to be open carry. Open carry, I think it's the 15th, right? Is this going to be the 15th?
This is second Sunday, it's the second Saturday.
Oh, this is going to be the...
Oh, no, it is the third Saturday.
Okay, March 15th, this is the third Saturday. It's the open carry, which we call Come and Take It. It's where you go with long guns. It's legal to carry long guns openly. And a lot of people are afraid of guns, and this is to help let them know guns are not, bad. It's bad people that are bad. So they started doing this maybe 6 months ago. And they get a nice little crowd out. It all depends on the weather and depends on if there's events going on in San Antonio or somewhere else, which I don't think there is this week. So we could have a pretty good turnout. They start at 10 o'clock, but basically by 11 is when they decide to start moving down the street.
Where do you go and where do you park?
Dealey Plaza is also called the Grassy Knoll. And it's down, where the Records building is, where the Dealey Plaza. Behind there is a wonderful parking, and you just stuff $4 in the little hole thing with your parking space. Although there is metered parking around there too, but I never do that. So I know and it's easy parking right there. Meet at the Grassy Knoll, get some pictures taken, talk to people. It's a great outreach because there's a lot of tourists. And a lot of people coming from other countries that you may like to go visit, but I wouldn't want to live there because America still is one of the few places that has guns. And so there's like Chinese people there or whatever, like to take pictures with a real gun, So, and then they start walking somewhere around 11 or so, walking the streets a little bit, and then deciding to go to lunch. And a lot of times they go to Chipotle or there's an Italian place there, and eat together and then disband. By 1 o'clock. So we want to welcome you. Yes. It's very cool. We have several pictures of all the guns lined up, and there's women and children and people in wheelchairs and people, with dogs and strollers and everything else. So it's really very cool. Then also on Saturday is the chemtrail. Would you read it, David, loudly?
I just have it at 1500 Marilla.
1500 Marilla. That's City Hall. That's City Hall, and it's the Geoengineering. It's the geoengineering, I believe.
Against chemtrails.
Is it chemtrails? But I think it's geoengineering
I think
too.
that's one and the same.
What do I have on
The
there?
long, we have it shorter, but the long name of it looks like Dallas Global March Against Geoengineering.
Dallas Global March Against Geoengineering and Chemtrails.
And CLO, and I can't read the rest of it, 'cause it's
Okay. Okay. Well, what this is the National Day of bringing awareness to geoengineering and chemtrails, and it's at City Hall. And I'm not necessarily. This is how I talk about Activists for Truth. I like promoting other things. Now, the actual open carry gun thing, I feel like we are kind of co-hosting that because we are so involved with it. I very much am for exposing the chemtrails and the geoengineering of everything, and I want to enlighten people more about that. We've had a speaker here about that before. I want to have another speaker. I had thought, this is another thing that sometimes I'm dumbfounded. There's a young lady who was in the Air Force for 9 years. Do you think you could pull her name up? Do I have it on anything? Mulligan or something like that at the end. Anyways, she was in the Air Force. She saw this going on. Her background was in safety, biosafety. Kristen Megan. Yes. And she has a Gmail. I sent her a message, and I was hoping we'd Skype her in today so that we could have some, interchange with her, ask her some questions. She is out of the service now, and it's only been a matter of months. And she is talking big time. And she's talking with a lot of strain in her voice because for the 9 years she was in there, they threatened her when she tried to bring up questions. She was kind of like naive. She was like, oh no, this is not safe. The levels are too high. And she was doing all kind of tests, and she was trying to bring it forward, and they were like, I think you need a break. I think you need to, we could put you on 120 days in the psych ward, in other words, but what would happen with your daughter? Because she was a single mom. It was that kind of intimidation of, stop talking. So now she's out, she's talking big time, and I'm going to try to bring her to town. So in other words, this is what Activists for Truth used to do last year more. I was to bring a lot of people in and try to have big events. And then, and I thought that was good. And as long as it's making people kind of get involved and do more. If it's just to have an event, I don't have the time for that, I want activism and I want uniting, that's important. Yes, sir.
What did it cost you to bring in Joe Bannister and Sherry?
Okay, Joe Bannister, Sherry Peel, and Tom Selgus. It was about $2,500. It was about $2,500. And that's what I put my money out for. And but somebody gave me $500, and I always planned to give something to enlighten people. And then the door took in about $600 or something like that. So I was out several $100s. I don't remember what it was. I try to forget sometimes. But it was a good mission, and it was fine. And then some of my other events, when I do like that, I closer break even, which is okay, because I try to put them on so it doesn't cost people, because I want to get people in. But I want to get people in to move the movement forward, not just to have an event, So I've kind of held back on them a little bit, even though I've had some great offers for people to come, and I know how to do it now where I can, not lose as much money. So I can do that. But I just don't know if my mindset was there, but maybe it's getting there again. There's a lot of good people that we need to give them a platform. A lot of it's that too. Yes, sir.
And that, the Kristen Megan, we have her link on our calendar page.
Oh, good. Okay, so now our website, guys, go to the website, activistfortruth.com. It helps us in many ways. It helps our Google search come up because more people go into it. You get to see what we've got there, and you can tell us what we've done wrong or what you don't see. The calendar is always there. You click the calendar and you'll get more information about the events. But then like this Kristen Megan, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be able to see this awesome, it's only 16 minutes, isn't it? 22 minutes? It's a really good video. You guys should watch it. Go ahead.
What are they spraying?
Barium, you can probably say
Put
with.
them on site and bury them.
Back in FEMA Region 3, they're actually on record now as spraying lithium.
Good idea.
Kind of calm things down. Simmer down a little. Simmer down. Simmer down a little. But no. Yeah, it's getting into our soil, it's killing the plants, it's doing a lot of negative. And at first, they fully denied that any of this was going on. And as a lot of things, then they end up saying, well, we are doing it, but it's a good reason. We're trying to help the global warming, and we're trying to do this or this, to the point where they even say that it's nutrients, you know? So they're caught now. The deniability is harder, although there's still a lot of people that'll be like, chemtrails, I don't want to touch that, you're a nut, you know, or something. But anyways, this girl, you know, like a lot of people say, but who does it? Who does it? Well, she is saying that the military does it. And she is saying that, you know, she's coming right out and saying, I'm an eyewitness, and I have the background that knows what this is, and I'm telling you what it is. Now, she talked maybe 2 months ago, and I haven't heard much of her.
What was her name? Kristen Megan?
Kristen Megan. Right?
She also included the airlines.
Did she include the airlines?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Well, go to the website and watch her little YouTube, and then I'd like to, you know, at least Skype her in. She wants the information out there, and that's the way she'll stay alive longer, is if more people are, you know, hearing the information.
So what you want to do for the link, go to our calendar. On the 15th, you'll see Outreach Global March Against Chemtrails. Click on that. That's the event page. You'll see the YouTube link in there, and then you're good to go.
Okay, I'll repeat that so that you can hear. You go to Activists for Truth. When it goes to Activists for Truth, at the top there's a calendar button. Go to the calendar. It'll show, and then things will be listed. Go to the 15th, which is this Saturday. Open up, you know, click it, and it'll open up to the event, which will be a Facebook event that we made, and also it probably links to hers. And anyways, the video is listed under that event, okay? Please watch it. She needs our support. And when you watch it, you'll feel connected to her, and then you can send her an email or something, you know, or whatever, or just stay alert to it, or let more people know about it. Okay, you want something? Jack wants something.
Yes. What I want to do is encourage the people that didn't get to see that live, that have you been a corporate pilot?
Oh, that's right. You were a corporate pilot. That's right.
I thought, wasting my time listening, you know, but I came away totally convinced.
Wow.
And, I tell you, I just encourage everybody that hadn't heard her talk, you need to hear that video.
And I hear that, you know, there's 2 videos out. What are they spraying? And why are they spraying? And these are widely copied DVDs, and they've been given out widely. But they're supposedly coming out with who is spraying. So that should be really interesting, and it should be pretty. Is it out already? Who is spraying?
No, the first one.
The first 2. Yeah, that's right. And yes, sir.
If I can go back and find it, I got an email.
Do you want to talk up here?
I could.
Okay.
If I can find it, I got an email probably a year or so ago that was passed around by a flight mechanic, aircraft mechanic with a major airline, and he began to see some anomalies. And he began to, now, these people are divided into very strict categories of you work on the landing gear, you work on the engines, you work on the electrical system, and don't stray from your territory. And he started seeing that there were tanks being installed in airliners that most people don't know about. And these tanks run out to, you know, the little filaments on the back of the wings that let the electrical charge off. They're running little tubes into those so that they could spray chemicals out. And they're probably not even controlled by the pilots, but just timed to go off when they get over a city. And he started making mention of this, and he had his job threatened and was told to be very quiet. Evergreen also, the CIA airline, has been doing a lot of the spraying as well. It's pretty widespread. I think the reason that they put it into the airliners is not only to just make it more available to them, but those are airplanes that people would have second thoughts about engineering a way that they would come down. The Evergreen and like that, I think that, you know, people who really got rebellious might think, you know, there's a good way we might bring those airplanes down, but they're not going to do it to airliners. Anyway.
Strategy, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why this event that's on Saturday is going to be at City Hall, 1500 Marilla at 1 o'clock. So anybody who's doing open carry, you're right in the neighborhood, you can go down and support the other group. And so, and Doctor, there's no fluoride in the water here, by the way, because...
My favorite seasonings there are lithium carbonate and sodium chloride.
Oh, that's your favorite what now?
Seasonings.
Seasonings. Oh, that's what you use. Oh, okay. So okay, there you go. We won't get any here. Sorry about that. So, what was I going to say? So that's the event on Saturday that we're supporting. It's a nationwide event, but somebody had put it together. I don't even know who the organizer is. I just 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Okay.
Gina, do you see more or less or the same amount of activism over the last couple of years?
Well, I was the leader of the Ron Paul group, the Dallas Fort Worth Ron Paul group, so that was a lot of activism. We'd have 80 people daily, and it wasn't all the same people. We had about 600 people active, you know, so what was that? That ended in 2012, and a lot of people got very discouraged 2012 to 2013. I think it's a new kind of activism now, issue-oriented activism. Interesting question. Probably, what, it's lower than it was, I
The
think.
event is at 2.
Oh, the event's at 2 o'clock. I thought it was 1. Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. 2 o'clock at the City Hall, so I'll give time for your food to digest. Yes, sir, John.
Some comments on legal matters?
Legal matters, hold on 1 second. Okay, 8:52. Usually, you know, yeah, we'll give you a couple minutes. Let me think. What else, guys? One other little thing. Like I said, there's going to be a runoff. And the runoff, I believe the election used to always be like in May. So like when the primary has a runoff, because it wasn't a 51% deal, it was split. You'll have some races that are running off. Like I say, TJ Fabi, he's awesome. He's running for House Representative, a Texas House Rep, close to, where is TJ Fabi? No, anyways, south of here. And then, let me tell you 2 other people. Well, that's okay. We'll just go with that for right now. Okay, and we'll give John some time here, a little bit.
Probably back in 1994 was the first time, pardon me, the first time I encountered the legal reform movement, and that was through Aladask's program, Citizens for Legal Reform. Through them, then I had an opportunity to film some of the seminars put on by Erwin Rommel's School of Law. And Erwin Rommel has a byline, I don't think I could quote it right now, but basically the courtroom is a battlefield, the judge is the enemy general, your attorney is an enemy agent in your camp, and that's just the beginning. And from Erwin Rommel and other various groups, a lot of them dealing with issues still related to the IRS because there was so much need to address IRS issues in legal reform. Eventually came around to Richard Cornforth and some of the work he was doing. Through Richard, I got to know some individuals like Pat Patton, who wrote a book called IRS Lies, Cheats, Thieves, something or other like that, the title. The thing that I observed in the legal reform movement and in the legal education, these different entities offering legal education for the individual to do self-representation, there was a pattern. You would have someone go into court and actually use different parts of the law properly and just knock the judge right on his keister. And they'd get their decision or whatever. The next person who came behind them, the courts would have already been briefed and they wouldn't get the same result. And over time, it began to become apparent that there was such corruption growing in the court system.
The only ones who got educated were the judges.
I think you might be right on that. That's kind of a blank. that's a generalization. I think some people got an education, but what does the education do for you when the courts are corrupt, as you say? But see, the thing about it is most people in the country have no idea. They think they might get justice when they go in there. The standing joke is the person who wants their day in court obviously hasn't been there yet. So, we do have a problem, but it does not hurt to be educated on the matter. I missed the meeting when Al Adask was in here. He gives some presentations, really, I'd actually...
He's awesome.
He is awesome, and I should check that material and see if maybe we should have him come back in on a different topic, and that might be the topic of escaping the trust trap. There are two systems of law in the country. There is the consent system of contract law that we have through the Constitution, where we consent to be governed by these specified rules. And there is administrative law of trustees and beneficiaries. And all these public servants who should be down here believe they're up here being our trustees and administrators, and they don't even have to, under trust law, they do not even have to inform us about the provisions of the trust. So recognizing it and understanding, okay, well, what is the whole point of a legal education? If you're going to get the country back, if you're striving to get the country back, younger generation, you need to know these structures of law. So whether this aids anybody now, or whether we are simply leaving a testament, a trail for others to follow later, I think it's still very important.
Yes, I agree. Yes. Okay, guys, it's almost 9 o'clock. Next week, Monday, I know who our guest is, and I'm positive he'll be here because I have greater availability with him, and that's Joe Stokes. He's going to be speaking about the 9/11 history and what's happening now. Joe has been a very faithful person that they meet at Barbeck's Restaurant, which is on Garland Road, every Thursday at 7 o'clock. And they are still keeping the... Thank you. And they're still keeping, just a few more minutes and we'll be done. Okay. And they're still, so they're still handing out DVDs. And Joe, with his little burner, and a lot of them that help stealth the little envelopes, they've handed out 60,000 9/11 information DVDs over the years. And they always go to the JFK events. They're very loyal to getting the information out. Well, he'll be here next Monday, and he'll be our guest at 8 o'clock. So bring people that don't know or need to know more or ask questions. Yay. All right, thank you for coming, everybody. Please keep telling people that we will be here, except, the first 2 Mondays in April we'll be at the IHOP, and then we'll be here. We'll be here, and whether we have one thing I am changing, for a while I had said every Monday at 8 o'clock we'll have a guest speaker, and that we're going to try to announce them ahead of time. Right now, we're going to have the meeting until 9 o'clock, and you might be surprised which guest speaker we have, because it's been a little difficult to, and then I feel bad if I say they're coming and then they're not coming, and it's stressful. Go ahead.
Did you say that you're going to have Joyce here?
Joyce Riley has agreed to come, Joyce Riley, but she's going through some health issues right now, and she'll find out tomorrow how serious and what she's doing. She's actually had 2 gentlemen on the show helping her out, Josh and JD, on a more regular basis so that she can have more freedom. I didn't put any more pressure on her, but Joyce Riley's awesome and she would come. But I didn't want to put the pressure, and I didn't know how much we were going to be able to produce a good crowd, and I didn't want to have her come and do all that, because she was being very nice. She didn't want to charge or anything. So, anyways, yes, sir.
Just one quick comment as I walk in, and I'm sorry I was late. I was falling asleep at my computer this afternoon.
Okay.
Even my cats were not waking me up.
Uh-oh.
But I heard the issue of leukemia addressed.
Yeah, cat leukemia.
Yeah, okay. As far as human leukemia is concerned, there's a book you can get at Alibris, A-L-I-B-R-I-S books called the Bruce Cancer Cure, B-R-E-U-S-S, Rudolph Bruce. He cured over 40,000 people of all kinds of cancer through a very specific diet. And he says that leukemia is not even a cancer, it's very easy to cure in humans. So it may be quite easy to cure in animals as well. As far as feline AIDS is concerned, I completely cured one of my cats. Blood test before and after by a veterinarian of feline AIDS with a time deployed with silver.
That's the other thing we talk about here is alternative medicine. There's a lot of, and Joyce gets into that also. So along the way, guys, if you have an authority or a person that you have has a topic of something that they want to bring forward, let me know about that too. Okay, one more last thing. There's a lot of last things, but John Gentry is so nice. He always films our events. And he has several different ones up here, and he has probably more in his car. They're $5 a piece, which barely covers the envelope and everything. So you might want to see what he's got here and help support John. Thank you for coming, everybody. Bye.
Are these all DVDs or CDs or what?
They're all, it was fun, and he doesn't have